dedicated reading on this. Next, I'm reading The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. I started this after finishing Guns of Avalon. I'm about 50 pages in, so there's a lot of books still to come, and just absolute delight so far. This is a book that is very, very much hitting the sweet spot for my interests, and really, really think I'm going to enjoy this, and I think book 2 is either out now or is about to come out in the series. So what better time than now to read this and then roll right into the next one potentially. And so the last one I was going to put on was going to be a nonfiction to finish after when I finished the Viking Age, which I didn't finish last night. But I had a friend who had a birthday last month, and I promised them that I would I would let them pick any fantasy series that they've wanted to read but haven't gotten around to yet. And that I would join them to read through that series with them. And so she picked a book, a series, asked if I had read it. I hadn't. Asked if I had it. I don't. And so I said, that's not a big deal. I'll find a copy. We'll be able to read it. And she said that, nope, I found a copy. It's already on its way. Happy early birthday, essentially. And so it arrived yesterday. It's the King Raven series by Stephen R. Lawhead. So this is a complete trilogy, Hood, Scarlet, and Tuck. So if you can't tell from that, a Robin Hood series here. So I'm looking forward to that. It's a very thick naked hardcover here. And I'll be starting in on that probably at least a little later today, because I think she's planning on starting, if she hasn't already, very, very soon. And so to wind this down, because I don't want to go on forever, I've made more progress in Conan the Barbarian Epic Collection. I think I've got 5 more issues still to go in here, including one that features the appearance of Red Sonja. So I'm excited for that. Really enjoying it so far. And then from one of my local libraries, I checked out a couple other graphic novels about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And finally this weekend got around to reading the first issue out of each of them to see if these are ones that I want to put on the I should pick these up sometime list. So the first one I picked up was Sandman by Neil Gaiman. I'm not a big Neil Gaiman fan. I am yet to read anything of his that has really done well for me. They've all been fine, but none that have just blown me away. I still think at this point in time the best thing I've read by him is his book Norse Mythology. But even that, I probably would rather pick up the Poetic or Prose Edda in translation versus picking that back up. And so I read the first issue of this, and it was fine. If you've read Sandman, is this worth my time? Does it get good? Is it worth reading? I don't think at this point in time I would feel inclined to go any further with it. But if there are enough people that whose opinions I trust that vouch for the series and say, yes, you should absolutely check it out in its entirety, I'll be willing to give it a second chance to see how it goes. And then the other one I picked up was Die. And oh my God, I loved the very first issue of this. It was fantastic. Really, really interesting premise of a group of kids on his 16th birthday get together to play a role-playing campaign that the person made special just for his birthday. And then they reappear 2 years later. Went missing for 2 years. They reappear 2 years later, but one of them doesn't reappear with them. So that's the scene. And so a lot of time passes. And I don't want to even spoil what else happens in that first issue. But needless to say, by the time it got to its conclusion of that first issue in here, I said, yes, I will be putting this on the. I am picking this up and I'm going to read Die. Oh my gosh. It is fantastic. I think Huntress might still be my favorite of the ones I've sampled so far. But yeah, between Huntress, Saga, and Die, and if I can find more of the Northlanders, I'll be set on some non-comic graphic novels for a while. I'm having some really, really enjoyable ones to start enjoying. So my idea, I'm going to keep Conan up there on that shelf too. And then once I finish Conan, I'll probably bring up Saga or Huntress, and then go back to the third volume of Conan, and then to whichever of those two I didn't take up, and kind of start cycling through graphic novels and having those up there as well. I've found the graphic novels work really well for me when it's getting late at night and I want to read something but don't have quite the capacity to follow something harder and heavier. It makes a good I'm tired but I can't go to sleep yet because my daughter's still awake sort of reading material. So that's all I've got. I could go into greater depth on other things. Maybe next week I'll talk about the board games I play this week as well. But I just want to keep it kind of short, concise as much as I can. But stay tuned because I've got some ideas for some videos that I'll hopefully be making over the course of the week. We'll see if time allows. I've got a couple of tags that I really want to do. I've got a review I want to do. Yeah, that's right. I'll be trying to do a review. I want to do kind of an overview and a ranking of the first 20 of the books that I read from Michael's top 150 sci-fi books. And I want to do another, my March wrap-up book battle. So I've got a lot of videos I want to make. I just need to find the time to do it and to choose to not read to do it. So we'll see how much we decide to do. Thank you, BookTube. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend.